Hi friends, welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Bhavika. At my channel I talk about anything and everything, and today I'm going to talk about the Reboot spin-off series within the Pretty Little Liars universe called Original Sin. I was scrolling through HBO Max one day and I noticed that there was a new show with the title Pretty Little Liars on it, and I was intrigued. I watched it through and I enjoyed it, but then I watched it through a second time because I like to, after I know who's done it, I want to go back and see where you can pick apart, like pick and choose, like see where those hints are of like who's the actual bad guy. And for me, when I was watching this, I realized that there were some plot holes and some things that just did not make sense for how it ended. So, I'm going to, delve deep into that and explain why I don't think that the ending was the best and why it didn't make sense. So, if you are interested, we're gonna keep on going. If you have not seen the series or you're not into spoilers, there are going to be spoilers, so you have been warned. Okay, let's just talk about the basic plot. So we have the 5 girls, Imogen, Tabitha, Farron, Noah, and Mouse, who are pushed together to figure out what happened to this girl named Angela Waters, who went to the same high school 20 years ago, who killed herself and is connected to their mothers. And their mothers have something to do with Angela Waters' death. Now, in the beginning, the 5 girls, they're dealing with their own personal bully, and her name is Karen. She is Miss Popular, has an issue with everyone essentially, and it's just the biggest bitch ever. So that's the doesn't make sense part 1. And so you have Karen, who makes these girls' life miserable. She has an issue with Imogen, who used to be her best friend until a couple months ago, and she just likes to pick on Tabitha, Mouse, and Noah. And then she has an issue with Farron because they dance together and they're in competition with getting parts and stuff like that. Throughout the show, A really wants the girls to understand that what happened to Angela Waters was bullying, and that's why she chose to end her life. But the thing that doesn't make sense is that if A is so against bullying and all of this, why would they condone what Karen is doing? And I'm just going to reveal who A is now. It is the principal of the school, who was Angela's father, essentially. And we'll get to that there. But, so you have A, who is doing all of this because of bullying, but also enabling a bully who then kills the bully. It's kind of like a test. Like, he wanted to see what the 5 girls would do because Karen was bullying them, and if they pushed it, and if he pushed them into thinking that Karen was doing the absolute worst, and see what they would do to her. But in the end, he was going to still have Karen killed. That just doesn't make sense to me. That's a little messy. The next thing that doesn't make sense in this whole thing is, so Karen has a twin sister named Kelly. Kelly is always like in the shadows So it's told her, so Kelly says. And it is mentioned they like to switch spots and pretend to be each other a lot. And that it's something that's frequent and that they do that, and it's not even a question if they would do it. So there's a point where after Karen has died in her funeral, Kelly starts taking over Karen's life. So it seems. And then people start making comments about the fact that Kelly seems very much like Karen, like her dancing ability and such. You know, it's discussed, like, there's like an episode or two where they, you know, hint at the idea, oh, could Kelly have actually died and Karen was the one who survived, and she's hiding that because of the whole twin thing. But then it gets dropped. A goes after her because Farron's talking on the phone with one of the girls and basically mentions that she thinks that Kelly is actually Karen and Kelly was the one who died. So A goes and tries to kill Kelly, and that's when Kelly is just like, no, I'm really Kelly, I'm really Kelly, I'm really Kelly. And then that's it. So now we're just supposed to believe that that Kelly is now just as good of a dancer or better than Karen, that she is now dating Karen's boyfriend, taking over Karen's locker, dressing like Karen, has the confidence of Karen. Like, there's a lot of things that they show, and then it's just left alone. It just seems like an unresolved, like, plot point in the show, and it's kind of just like, it was never wrapped up, like, proven, because it just ends with Kelly saying, I'm Kelly. And that's just not enough, because if you believe that you are Kelly and not Karen and you convinced yourself, I mean, it just, you know, is it just me? Am I the only one who thinks this? I could be. Let me know in the comments, like, what you think about that part. So another issue within the series, I guess I would say, kind of like a plot hole, is so we have Tabitha, who we learn has experienced sexual assault from a party and doesn't remember who did it or anything like that. And she's been going around and sticking cameras, like hiding cameras everywhere to get footage. Now, it's not really explicitly said, like, why she's hiding cameras in the guys' locker rooms or what exactly she's doing with that. I can only assume that she's just trying to see if maybe someone had mentioned something just so she could figure out who, you know, did that to her. But it's never stated, and then it's also, like, never really discussed truly in depth how problematic that is. Like, her mom does find her laptop with the footage on it, especially the ones from the boys' locker room, and her mom's just basically like, you can't do this, like, this is wrong, like, how could you? You need to delete this, this could come back and bite you in the butt. And then it's dropped. The other plot point with that is Imogen and Tabitha decide to put one of her little cameras in the warehouse that has the Angelo Water Shrine. But, like, she never goes back to retrieve that footage. Why would you add that if it's not of importance? Like, that's just me, you know. Okay, so the next thing that to me doesn't make sense is Imogen's mom, Davy, her death. Now, the reason that it doesn't exactly make sense to me is because at the beginning of the series, she seems fine. Everything is fine. Of course, everything seems fine. And all of a sudden she gets that flyer from the party, and A is highlighted in it with the little note, and suddenly, let's pretend like 15 minutes goes by. It doesn't seem like a lot of time has gone by, because Imogen and Karen are in their room, are in Imogen's room going through clothes. And it's like within 10 to 15 minutes, Davy has gone into the bathroom and decided to end her life, and writes the letter A in her blood on the shower wall. I understand that, you know, depression and stuff like that affects everyone differently, and things can come out in different ways. But here's why it doesn't make sense. So Davy is very supportive of being there for her daughter. Imogen is like her, it seems like Imogen is her pride and joy, the person that she lives for. Like, she loves her daughter, and her daughter is pregnant. And she, in the flashbacks, we see that she is very supportive of whatever Imogen wants to do, that she's there for her, that she's not going to leave her. Like, she has her mom. So then she gets that letter, and it, like, triggers something in her. So she decides that she is going to, you know, end her life with her daughter there, and with her daughter's former friend. Just down the hall. So she, you know, ends her life, and in that moment of ending her life, she writes the letter A on the bathroom wall in her blood, and just, you know, bleeds out. Why? Like, why would you write the letter A? Like, they say that at, like, the end she was trying to write Angela, like A for Angela. But again, that doesn't, it just doesn't add up that she would have done that. And yet, I find it funny in the sense that they have us believe. So they have us believe that she did, you know, choose to end her life. And then it's brought up, what if? What if A got to her? What if A was the one who killed her? Like, she didn't actually choose to leave Imogen. And then Imogen goes and meets her dad. And her dad's like, no, she's been dealing with mental health issues. Like, she's always dealt with, like, depression and such. And, like, that's not anything new. And then she got better after Imogen was born. And everything was fine. And that she always kind of, like, teetered on, like, that line of going to, like, the dark thoughts versus being fine. So then it's just kind of accepted, like, the bad guy at the end is just like, no, she did it herself. Like, she took, like, we didn't do anything with that. And it just doesn't sit right with me. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And, I mean, like, we can debate on, like, how, you know, mental health affects everyone and it's different, but it doesn't make sense. And that's what I'm gonna leave it at. It just doesn't add up. It's like, honestly, sometimes I think with these, like, little, like, plot stuff that they throw in here and, like, little, like, questionable stuff, it's like, they're like, we're gonna sprinkle them here. We're gonna choose to see if we're going to go back to it and expand on it, or if not, we're just gonna leave it and forget about it. Which I guess, you know, is fine. It's whatever. But, like, it's not at the same time. Because it's not, like, it's just left out in the open and you just are left with it, and it just doesn't, it just ends up not adding to the show. Sorry, that one just, I don't know. I don't know why that one bothers me the most, but it just doesn't make sense. And that's all I can say. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah. Oh goodness. I don't know if anyone else gets riled up or like feels this way when watching something, but like if you do feel this way, like let me know, because I would like to know that I am not alone and I'm not the only person that gets like heated about these things. So yeah. Now, like the last major thing that I don't think really ties in together has to do with like just the ending of like who is the whodunit, like who's the big bad guy at the end of the reveal. So we find out that it's the principal, and his backstory is that he is the father of Angela Waters. Angela Waters did not know her father because he got his girlfriend at the time pregnant. His family didn't want him to be a father at that age, so they paid off his girlfriend's family and they moved to a different town. Years later, he is a teacher at the high school, and he is reapproached by his former girlfriend, who tells him that Angela is going to be attending the high school. And it's also revealed that Angela had a twin brother named Archie. So he knew that Angela existed, that she was a student at the high school, saw the things that she endured, but did nothing to stop it as a teacher, as her father as well in that time. Also, the other thing is Angela is sexually assaulted as well, which turns out to be Kelly and Karen's father, Tom Beasley, who is the police chief. So here is where it's just like, it's more of like, why did it come to this? Like, if you as a father, as a teacher, saw this happening, not only to a student, but to your child, that you knew was your child, and sat there and let it happen, didn't say anything, didn't stop it, but then later decide, 20 years later, to get revenge, not on the mothers, but on the mother's daughters. And it's like this deranged way of thinking of, well, I'm going to torture your daughters because you tortured my daughter, and I'm just been like waiting for this master plan for the last 20 years to like execute it. Which again, doesn't make sense. And I get bad guys don't always have to make sense because they're the bad guy and they have their own like warped way of thinking. But it was kind of like a letdown of like the end all who did it. Because you find out that Angela has a twin brother who is named Archie, who has like a deformed face, so he wears that really creepy mask. So it's like the dad principal has decided he's going to take out his guilt, his frustration, like his hurt on these 16-year-old girls who knew nothing of their mother's past. And it's like, what really did the girls do other than being daughters of the mothers? Like, the mothers are the ones who did it. Not saying that they deserved it, but like, you would think that the mothers would be the ones being, you know, sought after and all of that. Like, that part just kind of was a letdown, because you're just like, you finally figure out like who is behind all of this, and it's like, oh, it's the principal and he's doing it for this reason, and you're just like, that's not really like a good enough reason in my book, I guess. That's how I would say. It's just not that great of a reasoning. Not a compelling like who did it. And I get that the show is like about like honesty and all of that, like hiding secrets and lies, and like the moms were doing that because they were ashamed of their past. They know what they did was wrong, And I do like that the show kind of also portrays that you can learn from your mistakes. Like, the girls did it after they realized that, hey, releasing that video was wrong. But also, like, the moms, as they grew up, they realized what they did was wrong, and they have remorse for it. So, like, I do like that aspect. Like, yeah, like, I do not condone bullying whatsoever. Like, horrible thing, but you can realize that, like, people can grow and realize that what they did was wrong and have remorse for it and try to make up for it and, you know, do better in life. I do think that this series is good. I like that they do talk about, like, the hard topics. Like, this show is full of, you know, conversations of not only just bullying, but, like, mental health, addiction, like Noah's mom and her addiction, and, like, how that presents, and not even just addiction in adults, but, like, the kids in, like, sports, how they're given, like, steroids, drugs, something, performance enhancers, and, like, how that starts there. You have topics of sexual assault and how that's major, and, like, what can result into that, like, how that affects someone. So I do think that it is a great fun show to watch. It's only 10 episodes, and I do also like the little hints. They do drop little hints of the other Pretty Little Liars universe. Like, they go to Rosewood, they talk about Arya and Ezra. You see Ezra's books in the show. They go to Radley in the Radley Hotel, or whatever that's called. Like, they mention that, and they go there as well. So there's a lot of, like, little sprinkles of the original Pretty Little Liars that I think everyone can appreciate there, with it being within the same universe. So at the end of it, I do recommend, you know, giving it a try. It's a fun little watch. It's easy. Nothing huge, like, of commitment. It would be interesting to see if they do decide to go for a season 2, or if this is going to be a standalone thing. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts of the show, and why I think that it didn't have the best ending. But, you know, sometimes shows are about the journey and not the destination. Sometimes. I think I'd like to keep that perspective on it. So yeah, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought of the show, if you've seen it, if you're going to. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions. I love discussing TV shows and stuff, movies, books in depth, so more to come with that. And don't forget to hit that like button, as well as the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of all new videos once I get them posted. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you at the next one. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time.